People who advocate for the first world problems of men, but not the first world problems of women, are not egalitarians.
I guess then we can logically extend that to feminists, right? I mean, that would certainly explain why they're called feminists and not egalitarians. Although I really don't understand why they don't call themselves I do understand, everyone.
These men complain about first world feminism, asking why feminists do not address the real problems of women in the Middle East and globally, which we do ad nauseum.
Well, okay, maybe you do. Maybe you as an individual do that. However, from their organizations and from their Twitter hashtag movements, it's very clear and obvious that they're not focusing on the problems that are happening in the Middle East. He for she, ban bossing, manspreading, cyber violence. It's very clear, not fat shaming, body positivity. It's very clear that they are not focusing on issues in the Middle East. Okay, maybe you are. Maybe you're getting your AR-15 and you're flying to go fight guerrilla wars against the Taliban. Maybe that's what you're doing, but that's not feminism.
But these people rarely say a thing about it themselves, all while focusing on the oppression of things like manspreading.
I don't think you're talking about MRAs there, man. Kind of sounds like you're talking about feminists. That's what it... I'm just, it's... MRAs aren't talking about how oppressive manspreading is. And they might talk about how stupid it is, but certainly not how oppressive. Because it's not. It may be rude, maybe even inconsiderate, depending on the situation and the space in the cart. But certainly not oppressive.
And complaining about radical feminism. Not the problems of women, not the problems of girls, not the problems of the LGBT people, and not the problems of men or boys globally, just their own.
Oh, and God forbid men take some time out to say, hey, if you guys actually want to use us to advocate for your problems, maybe now, just maybe, we could take some time to fix our problems. I mean, I'm just saying. You want men to advocate for these problems for you. But if the stature of men is not up to par to deal with their own problems, how can you expect them to deal with other people's problems? Kind of sounds a little stupid to me.
This is not egalitarianism. That is not humanism. That is the first world men's rights movement. Boys, girls, and women are being enslaved in the first world through something softly dubbed human trafficking. Gay men in Syria are being thrown to their deaths off buildings. Villages of women are being enslaved in Iraq. Boys are being bought and raped by high-ranking Afghani officials as a matter of promotion.
You are correct. Those are all very serious issues. The only problem here is we here in America have got our own issues too. Let me ask you a question. If you're drowning, how do you expect to save another person that's drowning? I mean, first, you've got to make sure that you don't go under the water first, right? I mean, if you can't swim, how are you going to save someone who else can't swim? It's kind of like that, Here in America, we got a lot of problems, we got a lot of issues with the way our society treats men. That's what the MRAs are looking at. And they say, hey, this is a problem here. Now I'm looking at the world and I say we got problems with the ladies and we got problems with the men. And we got to help these people out first before we start going over there and sending foreign aid to other people. I'm just saying, we can't swim. So how are we supposed to be lifeguards? Just asking.
And your main concerns are what? Manspreading?
Okay, look, listen. You and I know good and goddamn well that manspreading is a feminist issue. It is feminists who are complaining about men sitting with their legs really wide on public transit. You know this. Why do you keep saying MRAs are saying this?
Homelessness? Suicide rates. All self-inflicted or caused by other men.
So I guess we shouldn't give a shit about it then, huh? Oh, well, men are doing it, so fuck it. Listen, you want men to help women and gay people and trans people, and people in other countries with their problems. But God forbid they take some time out to say, hey, we got some issues too, let's fix this. Let's get this situation straightened out. I mean, you want men to do something for a bunch of other people. How are they supposed to do that if they're drowning too, dumbass? And even then, so what? So what? Other men are doing stuff to other men. So that's why you should help women.
Your main point of strife to the first world men's problem is custody law. Okay, we agree that needs to be reformed. First world problems should also be addressed. But do you focus on first world women's problems as well?
Not if they don't have any. I mean, what's a first world woman's problem? Oh, I got one. I got one that's nice and fresh. People say mean things to them on the internet. Can't have that. Men growing up without their dads in their lives, but you said someone sucks on the internet. We gotta deal with that issue first. Is that what you want? Because I don't. In all honesty, I say men killing themselves, I think, is a little more important than someone saying mean things on the internet. Children growing up without their fathers, that sounds a little more important than manspreading or any other feminist issue. Literally any other feminist issue. Any other feminist issue you can pull up to me right now, I'm going to say at the top, most definitely, more important than that, is the fact that children don't get to see their dads.
Because if you don't, you're not a humanist. You're not an egalitarian.
I am neither, and I am both at the same time. You see, there's this thing that you can do when you're a human being. You can care about everyone. It's possible. You don't have to be an egalitarian to want to help everybody's problems out. You don't. It's possible. You should try it out sometime. You don't have to be a feminist to fight for women's rights, even though women here in America they're living pretty good lives. You can just be a regular person. You should give that a shot. It's really easy. It doesn't take a lot of effort. You just do what you're doing and just say, hey, I help people. You can do that. I promise you, you can do that.
You're just a first world MRA. People fit into definitions and labels by actions, not words, and your actions betray your selfish interests.
You know, I was thinking, I was having a conversation with an old friend of mine. You know, man, me and her, we talk about a lot of stuff. Me and this girl, and she's really, really smart. She's really wise for her age. You know, and I'm sitting there and I was talking to her, and I was like, but listen, you have all these issues that MRAs talk about, and then you have all these other things that happen in these different countries, right? All these different things that happen with the Taliban and how they treat men and women. They treat men and women pretty terribly. And I'm talking to her, and I'm like, we have these first world issues and these. I mean, I was like, but which one do we focus on? Which one do we care about? And then she looked at me and she said,
¿Por qué no los dos?
also, I have to add one last thing. I don't really think you thought this video through. Why? Well, let's follow your train of thought logically now, shall we? Earlier in the video, you said that feminists focus on first world issues and third world problems as well. And yet, throughout the course of your video, you gave me no reason, let alone an argument, as to why MRAs can't do the same. So, I'm going to assume, since feminists and MRAs are both human beings, and human beings have the capacity to care about multiple things at the same damn time, it looks like MRAs can absolutely focus on male issues and issues that happen in the other countries. I mean, once again, you gave me no reason to suggest otherwise, so, following your train of thought, looks like you wasted your time with this video. That, or you were not thinking about the words that came out of your mouth. Just saying. So that being said, I certainly hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, man, go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below, and as always, have a great day. Maybe I'll see you soon. Adios.